Good morning. Or just hello, I guess. Also fine. Got my thick jacket on today because it's a bit chilly, and the other one, I don't actually know where I put it. It's missing. So this one will do. You can't really search for stuff 3 o'clock in the morning because there's other people in the house that are still asleep, and you make a lot of noise. So okay. So let's go over here. Okay, this is not full screen. We need to go to this thing. Okay, so let's see. We've done so many things. We realistically only need to do like knickknacks. I would say. I don't know. Maybe it's not knickknacks. Maybe I'm thinking about this incorrectly. But so some of the things I want to do is. Okay, we need to have more spawn points. That's important. I think that makes the waves way more interesting. And I'm gonna have to check if I can make them place randomly. So we'll look at that. UI stuff pretty much did those. Oh, I made a separate UI stuff. Okay. Boss is pretty much done. So let's see. What did we do yesterday? Okay, we have a button to return to main menu. We have settings. We have something to start the run. Need to make it look nice. I don't know. I think it looks kind of nice. So the main menu exists, right? A pause menu. So we don't actually have a pause menu. Yeah, so I might have to do that one. We also don't currently have a end game menu. Okay, so those things I have to do. So we still have some UI stuff that we need to figure out. And then I still have bugs that I need to go and squash. Okay. So we'll get to that. Before we get to that, I also did export a build of the game. Let's just do this. Okay, let me show you. I need to stop. I don't know if I could just. Okay. Anyway, let me show you the build of the game. Wait, where the hell did I export this thing to? Here it is. Okay, I'm gonna switch off the music. Because I also added music to the game, the actual build. So, here it goes. Are you guys ready? It's gonna be full screen and all. That's pretty cool. I like that. I mean, you can see I played with the post-processing a little bit, and there's probably some things I could still do. But it's working. Looks like a main menu. Here's our heroes standing to the side. Some epic music playing. Might be too epic. Might be a little bit loud. Yeah, this seems a bit loud. Let me just... can I do a volume mixer quickly? And Chicken Knight, you're going to have to go down. That's better. I hope so. But look how cool that looks. There's a little field with flowers. You can obviously tell there's still some work to be done. Here above my head where this windmill is, there's a bit of a blank, blank space over there. And then we have something like over here we need something big to fill up the space, maybe some cloud coverage, etc, etc. Okay, but if you click new game, you get to play a new game. Oh, interesting. So I was testing this yesterday and this didn't happen. Okay, so that's interesting. So it didn't actually start a new game. Okay, that is very interesting. It seems like it kind of remembered some of the stats for the characters from the previous run. That is very interesting. So the scriptable object data seems to be somewhat persistent. I didn't realize that was the case. I thought it would just, every time you restart, load the game, it'll just kind of forget about that. That is interesting. But I mean, how cool is that in full screen, hey? I haven't seen this in full screen. Now we still probably need to do quite a bit more polish. Currently I'm not a fan of the way the ground looks. It's very plain, very boring. The trees in this level is not correct, and then there's a lot of things that we should be able to fix up a bit, right? But the game works. Yes, look at these frogs are getting a bit insane. Please be less insane, frogs. Okay, I have to really go and fix the bug on this frog. This whole thing with them. Okay, so if I'm here and I click restart. Okay. If I restart again. Oh, that's very interesting. So you saw when I clicked restart the first time, it didn't reset anything. When I clicked it again, it did reset all the health and stuff. That's interesting. I wonder why. Settings doesn't work. New game works, obviously, and then we can quit game. It feels pretty cool. I must admit, having it as a an executable, a full build, is pretty cool. But okay, we still have a lot of stuff to do. So yeah, so currently I'm gonna have to go do some research on the persistence problem. So I thought that scriptable objects would kind of just reset themselves, but okay, they don't. Okay, so this is my very nice environment, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna worry about this too much. We can probably play the music again in the background. Okay, so this looks cool. I'm happy with this. I should probably just go to the game scene and make that environment look better as well, because it's kind of nasty. What the hell? Oh. Oh, I'm looking at the main menu. Okay. Canvas. Can we maybe just hide you? There we go. Yeah, because this looks not nearly as nice, right? Not even close. Yeah, so I have a couple of issues with this. So if I try to use the other trees, the first problem is going to be that you know, the coverage they provide is quite a lot. So what could happen is your characters can get lost underneath all the leaves and stuff like that. So I'll need to figure out a way to make your make the characters, or hide the trees or something like that, right? Make them invisible, or give the characters like a glowy outline that you can see through the trees or something like that. But yeah, that's kind of hard. Well, it might not be that hard. I just don't know how to do that. So, you know. Okay. Yeah. So I could also make, if we go to the global volume. Yeah, we could do a lot of stuff, right? Actually, where's my lighting tool? Lighting. Yeah, this thing got lost somewhere. Yeah, so we can change the skybox and the sun and the... Woo! Okay, that's interesting. Okay. I wonder if we can move the sun. I'm sure you can, I just don't know how. Very interesting, very interesting. Let's just do skybox. Okay, I'm not going to mess with this too much right now. Let's get to the things that we actually need to do. So, I think I'm just going to start off, before I get back into the UI. Oh wait, I need to start my timer thing. So before I get back into UI stuff, did I actually end the timer yesterday? Yes, I did. It didn't do anything now. Okay, so I'm just going to do other learning... general bugs, you know, etc. I'm just going to start one of these, which is just like a catch-all type of task when I'm not quite sure what I'm working on at the moment, right? Okay, so we have a problem with our frog enemy, and we still have all the kitchen chaos stuff open from yesterday. Let's just close that. Okay. So let's go here and let's close all tabs. Now let's go to our range bomber enemy. Open all its scripts and see if we can make this thing work a little bit better. So I think the primary problem is with the way movement is currently being handled, right? So we have an agent, that's fine. Okay, and we have all the state machine stuff. So okay, so the pushing that works, right? We've seen this happen now multiple times. When they die and they are being pushed, they fly off, and that works fine. Okay. Now the push force is probably a bit too much. Yeah, actually, I see that I multiplied the damage by 2. What if we just made this? And you know what? Let's someone go to the enemy. Movement script, the other enemy, I mean. Here we go. I think it's also 2 times, yeah. So that's not required, right? Okay. Okay, good. So now at least, because that's something that kind of bugged me, you know, especially when the damage got a bit high, you know, they kind of just flipped and flew off the screen, which is way too much. Okay, so let's see how I can improve this. So if we open the crocodile movement. Okay. So what we did specifically for this phase. Right. Okay, so first of all, you calculate the distance to player. And that was something I continuously checked, which I think is important. Okay, so can we not put these two side by side? I think there is a way to change your view. Okay, doesn't matter. I'm not going to go into that right now. Okay, so we need the distance to player. That needs to be continuously calculated somewhere at the start, right? Okay, so we need a private float distance to player. And we can calculate that if we are not being pushed, right? Because it doesn't really make sense in any other situation. So then distance to player is just that. Oh wait, we do calculate that already. Okay, so we just make that one over there, just so it's accessible in different places, but this one doesn't have different things. Okay, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's see how we handle this. So I think okay, so we get the distance to player, and then we say, okay, we are not running and we are not doing an action, right? Okay. So for this guy, it's a little bit different. So we're doing animation playing. Okay, that's fine. So if the animation is not playing and the distance to player is greater than some amount, okay, the agent should be enabled at all time, right? So yeah, so instead of getting the agent disabled, we just stop the agent instead. Right? Or actually, yeah, we should do it exactly like this. So basically we do this. We say, okay, if we are not running, so I'm not going to do the distance to player yet. I'm going to say RBE state machine dot get state. Okay. Is not equal to RBE as State machine dot state dot running. Okay, so we're not currently running. So let's see. So we start here. We say, okay, cool. Our attack animation is not playing, and we are not running. Cool. Those two things are true. So dot stop. Okay, so we do agent dot stop. Wait, agent is stopped equals true. Okay, so agent is stopped is equal to true. We don't set destinations or anything like that. We just do the rotation things, right? Yeah, so all of this, let's get rid of that. So is stopped is equal to true. And we just look towards the player. Okay, then once we do that, we calculate whether or not we should pursue the player. Okay, so we do one of these, but now this is not going to be this. Okay, so we'll just do that for the state machine stuff. So all this needs to be that, and then the states we want to use is that one, that one, that one. Now, this guy, I think he wanted to be 15 in range, not 18. Okay. Okay, so depending on... Okay, so what we do this. We are not dead. Okay. We are not being pushed. Okay. We calculate how far we are from the player. Always, we need that information. Then we say, okay, if we are not currently playing an attack animation and we are not running, okay, then we can stop the agent, look around, and decide whether or not we should start running, walk away, backwards, I mean, or just chill. Okay. So I think this one is very important because currently he gets stuck in some amalgamation of states. Okay. And yeah, so this part we don't want anymore. Okay, so I'll delete those a bit later. Let's just continue over here and see what else we need. Okay, so now we set the state and we basically have two options. Like, yes, the crocodile one was so simple. Basically, we can do get state if we are now in the running state because we set it over here and we are still not doing an action like attacking. We need to check again. So we started running, right? Effectively. And as we were running, we obviously closed the gap. And at some point, we came too close, so we need to stop. Okay, so let's just copy these two. And then paste them in here. Okay. So, if our range bomber enemy get state is equal to running, and we'll just keep this consistent. Okay, so effectively like that. So we decided to run. Okay, and we are still not doing an attack animation. Okay, so if we decided to run, we should check our distance. Let's make this 30. Hey, Zelera. Zelera. Probably not Zelera. I don't know. Zelera. How are you doing? Not great, I suppose, eh? You don't have internet. Yeah, okay, so the agent is stopped, is false now. That's good. And we set the destination to the player. So if we can't do this, we stop. Right, so now we have a second way to stop the player. And we set state to idle. There we go. Now, if we went to walking backwards instead, okay, we still need to do this stuff. It's amazing how many different ways I do things. Okay, but here we check. Okay, did we decide to start walking backwards? Oh wait, we need to do this state. There we go. Okay, so if we decided to start walking backwards and we are not playing the attack animation currently, we set the agent to true. We stop the agent basically initially. And if our distance to play is less than 15, let's make this 13. We walk backwards, and I think 80% the agent speed, that might be too much. Let's make it 50%. Ah, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, and somehow this, it's amazing. I must be getting better at coding because this other nonsense I was doing is all now within this piece of script. And this is so much cleaner to understand. Cool. Yeah, so basically we start walking back. If you think about this, right? We start running if we're greater than 15 away. Once we've closed the gap, not exactly at 15, because you don't want them to be on that border where they're like continuously switching between running and not running, because they kind of too far but also not too far. So you let them go a little bit closer than 15, up to 13, and then you stop them. Okay, so they start running at 15, they stop running at 13, basically. And the same with moving backwards. Once you get too close, they want to get away from you. So actually, I could make this distance to player less than... Okay, let's see. We start walking backwards. Right, so we walk backwards, and if our distance is less than 13, we continuously walk backwards. Once we reach 13, we stop. And then we go back here, and now since we're somewhere in the middle here, it doesn't really do anything. And I think this should fix all our frog problems. Yeah, because if the frogs were very annoying with them not being able to figure out what they have to do. Okay. Yeah, this whole thing doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah, we can just do this, right? And the movement speed is not important at all. It doesn't need to be a variable that this thing knows about. We just need to set the agent speed to our stats. Okay, goody. So this was the most important bug that I needed to squash. Let's take a look. Oh, I should switch off the music in the game. Otherwise, I keep having two sources of music playing over one another. Is kind of terrible. Okay, so let's just get out our ranger and hope some frogs spawn. Okay, so I might have broken something. So I guess they follow me correctly. I say that, okay. But they're not triggering their attacks. Okay, let's go to the animator. For the frogs, I just want to see. I think there might be an exit time. Yeah, if you want to stop, just stop. Don't exit time between idle and run. That looks weird. For the attack, we should have an exit time, so that's fine. Running to attack, no exit time, and then walking backwards to running, not a problem either. And then okay, maybe we should. Whoopsie. No. That's the default layer. Make transition back to walking backwards. And we should just make this is walking backwards true, no exit time. Okay, so now they can walk forwards and backwards. They can run towards you or walk backwards, no problem. And from walking backwards to attacking, no exit time, I don't want that. From range attack, there should be an exit time. There should be an exit time. No exit time there. Right, most of these are controlled not by the length of the animation, rather by the length of the... or by whether or not there's a trigger. Yeah, okay, so this is a bit better for that at least, but we now have a different problem where we don't actually attack. Okay, so let's see. So the frog... Okay, let's open up this frog. Okay, Mr. Frog. So let's see. You have your attack trigger zone, right? Apparently you don't. Wait, how the hell? Is this a broken frog? Does this frog not work? Oh wait, I need the gizmos. Yeah. So now there's definitely an attack trigger zone. It's 10 away. Oh, am I stopping before? Okay, let's go check quickly. So the attack script over here is 8. Okay, so it's got 4 plus 10, so it's 14. The range. Okay, so if I understand that correctly, then if I just run towards them a little bit, they will still attack me. They will be in range. Yeah, I forgot to switch off the music. Okay, let's see. It's a little dry, unfortunately, so won't be a lot of frogs. And I fixed the... Okay, yeah, no, they do attack. So if I just run away, he's gonna not actually come close enough to throw his bomb at me. That guy did. Okay, if I move closer... Okay, they keep away. Yeah, okay, so this guy should 100% be in range. Okay. Okay, let's go change some of those values. Okay, so since their range is only 14-ish, it seems like we should make this a smaller number. Right, so how close do they want to be to me? So let's make that 12. 12. Okay, we can keep this 10, I guess. Or let's make it 8. Right, and then over here we work with 10 and 10. So somewhere in the middle of the two, right? Okay, so that's fine. So hopefully that works a little bit better. I should check if we are disabling this thing at some point. So we disable it there. That's okay. The rest of the time we just make is stopped equal true. You know what the other problem is? I forgot about this. This is also a problem. So when you're doing the stopping in code, what you should do is, well, what I found is that in this navmesh agent, the stopping distance, you want to just set it to 0. Because what this is actually doing is it's checking the distance and then making is stop true. And I should be handling all of that in code, right? So this is pointless at this point. Okay. Okay, let's try this. Does this frog actually... No, I don't think he's active now. No, he doesn't spawn in. Okay, smells like swamp. And I forgot about the music again. Okay, so let's... okay, swamp and the chicken's not going to go well, but at least I can test the frogs very easily. Because there should be a ton of them spawning. Okay, he throws his bomb. He also throws his first bomb, at least. Okay, so it seems like their first trigger works fine. Yeah, there's no problem with their first trigger. Do I have to walk out of their trigger zone entirely before they can trigger again? That does seem to be the case. Okay. They walk backwards correctly. These two are confused now. It's very interesting how they can get so confused. Okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna actually activate this frog. Right, so let's set him active, and I want to play with him. Okay, so you can become active. Okay, he's just there, so that's fine. And I'm gonna go make the spawners just not spawn anymore. And then I can, you know, test the behavior a little bit better. Okay, spawn point 0.01. Okay, so let's do that. Now I have one frog to play with. And I can pull and push on the frog a little bit to see what exactly is happening here. And I forgot about the music again. I'll do it eventually, don't worry. Okay, so let's put on the gizmos and let's see. Okay, so he already is completely stuffed. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so somehow he's way more broken. Okay, that is interesting. If I just stand here, so let me just stand here. He does continuously throw at me. If I come too close, he goes backwards. Up to a point. If I go away, he follows. Yeah, so, I mean, he seems like he's doing everything I want him to do. Okay, that one is a problem. He's not setting his destination correctly. Okay, let's go see what that is. Okay, so so basically, okay, so let's go through this. I noticed this doesn't look good. I'm just gonna make that 3, so it doesn't rotate as quickly. Okay, so let's go through this. Okay, so this is fine. We are not playing the attack animation. That apparently is managed by the state machine for some reason. We'll guess that's the thing. Okay, and the state is not running. Okay, cool. So if we are not running and we're not attacking, we can look towards. We stop the agent, and we look towards the player. Okay. Now we decide if our distance is greater than 12, we will start running after the player. Okay. If our distance is less than 8, we need to walk away from the player. And if our distance is somewhere in between, we can just idle. Then we say, okay, cool, if our state is in fact running, then our state machine, and we are not attacking, and we are still greater than 10 away from the player, stopped is false, and we set our destination. Okay, that's fine. Otherwise, we stop and we go to idle. Okay, so that's good. That works. Now, in the case we want to walk away from the player, so should we do a... So stopped is true. That's fine. So we're not using the agent to navigate this. So we move away until we are 10 away from the player. So if our distance is less than 10, we continue, we move backwards. Let's put an else here, because I feel like it's necessary. I don't know why it's here. Else RBE state machine dot set state. We set it to idle as well. Right, now the only thing I think this could be a problem with is now the attack. So the way the attack is triggered is obviously not working with this. That I can understand now, because the crocodile in the ranged format doesn't actually use a state to attack. He uses a trigger. So he'll attack in any state. The animator needs a trigger to attack. Yeah, so if you look at the attack, okay, so we do all the checking stuff, and basically we just check whether or not the player was in the area. We trigger the event. And then I guess we don't do anything in manager because that would be too easy. I think in the state machine, unfortunately, so if we basically have this trigger. So if we have the trigger and we are not currently in the attack state and we don't have our attack timer, we can set the attack to set the state to attack. Else, if we are not in idle and not in walking backwards, we can set the state to idle. It's interesting because it I almost want to just redo all the attack stuff for this guy. Because I feel like the crocodile is currently working way better when it comes to attacking. Yeah, I might go back to the, because I redid all of the, I kind of wrote this stuff from scratch with the crocodile, and it seems like my understanding of how things should work was a bit better. So let's actually see if we can't find the crocodile. Yeah, so we had this ranged attack script. Yeah, so I did a couple of things differently. First of all, the cooldown was managed by the attack script, which makes a lot of sense to me, at least. Yeah, because there is an attack script for the ranged bomber enemy, but it doesn't really... So it makes sense, right? If the attack script figures out whether or not the attack is even, possible at this point. So I think I'm going to do something similar to that, right? So that might be the first thing I do now. So let's see. So I think a lot of it's the same, right? So you still need to get, you have your, so let's copy these just so we can have a timer in here. But yeah, in this case, you have your trigger zone, you have your sphere size, you have your player layer, and then player was in trigger area is false in this case. I don't think that is something we need. Okay, well, we'll look at it. Okay, so we get the timer going. We can basically just copy all of this into update. Oh, I see what I also have. So we do this in update. And maybe we have a fixed update over here. And there we can do this stuff. So I think I just made an attack trigger function here, which I like this way more. Yeah. So private void attack trigger. Just do that, and then here we just honor a fixed update. We run attack trigger, and in attack trigger, this is what we do. Okay. So now update is only responsible for doing the timer. And fix update does our actual attack trigger. Okay, so let's see what else do we need to do here to get this to work nicely. Okay, so for the trigger to work, okay, player in trigger area. Yeah, okay, so I changed this behavior as well. So if player in trigger area and let's see, not attack on cooldown. So basically, if the player is in the trigger area, so this check sphere returns true, and we are currently not on cooldown. Right, so if we are on cooldown, we can't do anything. If we're not on cooldown, if we're not on cooldown, then we can invoke this, right? So invoke this argument here. Oh, we invoke this event. I actually forgot that there is an event, yeah. So invoke the event, and we do this triggering nonsense here. I wonder if this is necessary. Maybe we do it exactly this way. Yeah, so we do yeah, so let's call this just attack trigger. Okay, so when all of this happens, we can do attack trigger. Hello? What's wrong? Attack trigger, we just set it equal to the player in trigger area. Okay, then our attack on cooldown in this case is equals to true. Okay, so our attack trigger is set to whatever this was, which would be true. I guess, unless this is an OR. Yeah, we just set our attack trigger to true. Which I kinda now realize we don't actually need to do that either. Right, this is just set over there, but that could be set over there. It's not used for anything else. So if we invoke this, we could just do that and delete that whole line. And then the attack trigger is never used, so you know. Look at me making my code better. Yeah, so this is probably not needed, right? This whole attack trigger thing can just go away. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we trigger the attack, we start the cooldown, so that's fine. So we'll only now get attack triggers when the attack cooldown, when this is true, first of all, so there must be something in the attack trigger area, and we are on cooldown. So these attacks would always be true, effectively, right? Okay, so let's see. So that's the range bomber enemy attack. Now, unfortunately, everything happens in the in this thing. Okay, so the attack timer nonsense, we could just get rid of that, right? So let's get rid of this whole block of code and see if we can't fix. Maybe I don't delete it just yet. So shift, no, control. There. Let's just comment it out for now, and we'll come back to that a bit later. So let's see. So we have the trigger here. Okay, so let's see what we do. So if we receive the trigger, if the attack trigger, now where is it getting this from? Okay, so I think this is also a bunch of nonsense. Right, that's a bunch of nonsense. This seems like a bunch of nonsense. New state is equal to state.idle and attack trigger. Yeah, this is not needed. Okay, so we just make sure we don't. Yeah, we don't change state if we're dead, so that's okay. Okay, so our state machine got an attack trigger, which means the player is still in the area and our timer, our cooldown has elapsed. Right, so that should mean that we could just make him attack. Okay, so let's just save it now for there. So what I'm thinking is, in our animator, we don't need to set is attacking to true. Although we can still do that just to make sure nothing else breaks. So we can change our state to attack, right? But we should also just have a trigger. Okay, so let's try. I just want to see what happens, right? If we get this, we set our state to attack. Right, so I guess just set state to state.attack. So yeah, as soon as we set this state to attack, it'll invoke this guy over here. The big problem normally is yeah, if we set this to true, it's probably immediately going to go to false again. So it's going to work like a trigger, pretty much. Because we're going to set the state on one frame, it will do the attack. So it'll go to is attacking true. Now, since I've done this, where the ranged attack, so all these is attacking will go in here immediately. So it will interrupt any other one of these three states. But it will only go back, in terms of the animation now, to one of them once the attack animation has completed. Okay, so the only one it can go back to, I think, is idle, like immediately. Well, after the exit time. Okay, that's quite a bit more elegant, I believe. Whoops. Okay, that's quite a bit more elegant, yeah. I still don't like the fact that I do all this in the state machine for some dumb reason, but anyway. Yeah, so this trigger will only happen every so often, and it will only happen... Okay, so let's just go back here and check something else. So all of this attack timer stuff is not needed. It doesn't make sense that that's done here. Right? A lot of this still doesn't need to be here, but anyway. And attack trigger, where are you even used ever? Nowhere? Okay, let's save and let's see if this frog is now willing to work with us. Okay. So, play. Let's see if we can make... if the frog's behavior is a little bit better. I should also maybe just take the animate of the frog. That's like it. It's so hard to remember that. Okay, let's see what he does. So he comes towards me. Okay, so he ran way too close. Okay, so let's click on the frog. Okay, so he's an idle. And let's see the state. So if we go to debug, we go to our state machine. Attack animation's not playing, that's true. State is idle, okay. So if I run away, it goes to walking, running. Okay, so we have a couple of issues here now. So walking backwards. That's not necessarily a problem. So when he runs towards me, yeah, he overshoots a little bit. Only sometimes, it seems like. Okay, so interestingly, he never triggers his attack. Which is probably because it's a state. Yeah, I mean, if I go to the attack script, I can see, okay, attacks on cooldown. Yeah, it goes on cooldown immediately, so it does invoke this. Okay, so what we could do, just to visualize this, we can say, right here, we can do a debug.log, just say something, frog should be throwing a bomb now. Okay. Yeah, so what I think is happening is he's going to the attack state. Okay, so we can do set state as well. So let's actually in the animator go, and right here we do a debug.log and we do e.toString. See what that does. I actually don't know. I might have to do e.state.toString or something like that. But let's just do that and see what it does. So I can follow all the states that it gets set to. Because I think it does get the attack state set, but it immediately goes back to one of the other states. Alright? Which means the animation will never play. The animation never gets to start playing. Oh my word, this music. Okay, chicken, let's go. So let's see in the console, what does he do? He actually doesn't trigger. Oh, wait, I'm stupid. Yeah, okay. So that state triggering thing that I did there. It doesn't mean anything. Okay. Yeah, but what I'm seeing is it's switching rapidly between the two. Okay, so sound, music manager, go away. Which means, okay, so we should do dot state. Okay, let's just try that again. Yeah. Let's go. I think this will do it for me. Well, it won't work, but I'll at least know what's happening. Okay, he's in the running state. He gets in range. Yeah. So he actually just keeps going to the idle state. Walking backwards, idle. Running, idle, running, idle. Okay, so we shouldn't set the state on every single frame. He should only have to set... Yeah, same with walking backwards. Like he... Okay, so I don't like that behavior. Okay, so let's go and see who's responsible for that though. Okay, so we can delete this. Okay, so let's go see who's responsible for this. It might be the movement. Range bomber enemy movement. So it might be this. That's continuously setting the states. Yeah, it very well might be this. So what I could do here is I could just do an AND. Yeah. So we don't set states to what they are already, right? If so, something like AND, something like this, right? Where I get the state and it's not equal already to walking backwards, for instance. And in this case, we do an AND, for instance, and it's not, no. And our state is not already idle. Right, if that makes sense. Because the thing is, currently it's like, oh, look, we're far away. Let's set the state to running. Okay, cool. Now, it checks here, so it doesn't continuously do that. But these two, yeah, it checks here that we're not already in the running state. But these two, it could just continuously set those. Which I think is kind of causing our issue here. Okay, so let's see. So over here, we also need to do an else if instead, because we're setting it to idle. And I don't want to continuously set anything to idle if we don't have to, right? And it would be the same problem right here. Set this. So, okay, so this one just sets destination. This one checks if we were set. So, yeah. So, wherever we set the state. So, I think that's the problem. We were continuously setting states, even though we're already in that state. So, that's one of the issues that I don't like that it was doing. And I think the crocodile is probably also doing something like that. Yeah, so let's do that. And our current state. So yeah, so we check the state somewhere. So we check the phase. Yeah, here we could do that. Yeah, so here we check for running, but we should check for walking backwards over there. And then here we should check for idle. If we're not in the idle state, we can set ourselves to the idle state. And we should do that. Over here. We don't need an and, I guess. And I kind of wanted this here as well, hey? We don't need to set the stop to true again, but we do need to set it to idle, potentially. Okay, I might have broken the crocodile now. Who knows, right? I wasn't supposed to change things in the crocodile at the moment. Hey, I still have coffee. Very cold coffee, but that's fine. Okay. So actually in the state machine, no. In our animator, yeah, I actually want that debug back. Debug, because I want to see if this worked. So e.state dot toString. Okay, so let's just see. So I want to see if it's now less spamming with the state changes, because the spamming was insane. Right, I don't need that much spamming happening here. Okay, let's check. Mr. Frog, are you now behaving the way I want you to? Okay, let's see what he does. So he goes into running, he goes into attacking, and then running immediately, then walking backwards. Okay, cool. So what I'm seeing is, as soon as the attack is triggered, he should throw a bomb, and then he idles immediately. Yeah, so every 2 seconds, he gets to do an attack. He should throw a bomb, but then he idles before the animation can even start playing. So in here, it just looks like that. That's interesting that it doesn't do this transition ever. His attacking must be true. That's very weird. So let's check in here. Do we even get to this point? Right. So debug. So if I do exactly this, I just cut it from there and I paste it there, I should see the attack now only when we go into the attack state. So when state.attack is triggered, I should get that printout here, which should, in theory, set idle to false and attacking to true. Right. Let's see. Yep. So that's very peculiar. Okay, so I think there's a couple of ways we can fix this. The first way is that as soon as the attack happens, so I believe what's overriding this is my new movement script, right? So this thing is pretty much just too aggressive with its updating. And it's overriding the attack immediately. So we never even transition, so we never even start. So what we can do, you can see that it's very important that so let's just go, okay, so we're not being pushed, that's fine. But here, the is attack animation playing needs to be false. And I think before we can do any of this, that needs to be true. Okay, so we shouldn't be doing an attack animation. Now, this is being set in our state machine, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because that's not the right way of doing this. But anyway, so this is being set. It is false to start with. Now what I'm thinking is, what if we just make the attack animation is playing equals to true. So we set it to true, right? And then I believe we'll go to the attack. We'll not be able to override it with the movement script. And so if we just go to this guy, I think the animation, the attack animation, yeah, right there, it starts throwing bomb, and that actually sets it to true as well, right? So in our animator events, starts to throw a bomb, state machine not is, so it sets it to, I think it never gets to that point. I think that's what's happening. So we never actually set it to true, which means all the other things just can override whatever it was doing. So we need to get to here before that works. Okay. This might be it. Just setting it before, so not in here, but rather, so we can keep this here, but not setting it here. You know what also could be the case? It might be the transition itself. So I've noticed this is also a problem. So you can see how this thing transitions. It kind of fades in to range attack, and I think sometimes events that are at the start don't get called. So if I move this event to like a little bit later, it might get called. But the problem is a little bit later is already a couple of more frame update cycles. So that would mean that we could just set it back to idle before we even get there. Yeah, so I think the better way is to set it somewhere else in code and then to deactivate it somewhere here. I'm making a lot of sense to myself right now. Let's see. Oh, please throw the ball. Okay, the movement's a bit weird. Why are you floating like that? Okay, and he still does that problem. Where he kind of gets confused what he's supposed to be doing right now. Okay, I think the cooldown needs to be longer as well, eh? Okay, let's go change the cooldown. I don't know what the floating is about, to be honest. It might be the way the nav mesh agent is set currently. So let's go see. So I've seen, yeah, it might be this acceleration number. If I make it like 250, he'll stop quite a bit faster. He'll also go faster, but he stops faster, which is what's currently important to me. Yeah, especially if I want to use this to start and go. I could just force the velocity to 0 in code as well, but let's just try this. See if that already makes a difference. And then the next thing is this cooldown. He is a bit insane. 2 seconds, that's not enough. Good evening, this guy. New Zealand. I suppose it is evening for you right now, hey? You guys are like 20 hours ahead of us. So you're at the end of your workday. How was your Tuesday? Okay, so 5-second cooldown for the bomb seems way more reasonable. 3 p.m. Huh. Yeah, still have a couple of hours to go, I guess. Okie dokie. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. So let's see if that floatiness goes away. Ah, that's cool. That is cool. Okay, let's see if this guy is better now. He runs towards me. He throws his thing, but he... Okay, so he's obviously not stopping the way I want him to stop. Oh, you know what it is? Ah, I know exactly what it is. I saw this piece of garbage code that some dumbass wrote a couple of weeks ago. I'll probably be on for now another hour and a half, I think. Right? More or less. Then I need to go to work as well. Hour and a half, 2 hours maybe, if I want to push it. If I want to risk the traffic. So I know exactly what the problem is. When bomb throw ends, it goes to idle. And because it goes to idle, right here, it doesn't go to idle via my movement. And I wanted to go to idle via the movement because that would mean something. Actually, no, what does that mean? So I set it to idle here. Actually, yeah, what does that mean? This might not have help at all. But at least we... Okay, wait. So we recalculate the distance to the player. We realize we're somewhere in between these. So we set it to idle. What are we doing here? If we're in the running state, we're not playing the attack animation. Okay. Cool. See you in 30 minutes. So here's what I'm thinking the problem is. So with the crocodile, I mean the crocodile doesn't float around this much, so I'm not quite sure why this is happening. So if we're walking and etc., we go to idle. Could it have just been that one place we're setting it to idle after throwing? It's surely not, right? Surely it's not just that. There's probably some more things going on here. Okay, well, let's just see if he's a little bit less crazy right now with his floatiness. So he comes at me. He's like, he throws a bomb. That's terrible. Okay. And he can still get completely confused. Why are you like this, frog? Oops. Like, what even is happening right now? What is he confused about? I don't understand. How are you even this confused right now? It's in the running state. But for some reason... okay, let's say, is my NavMesh agent stopped at the moment? I actually don't know. Doesn't say. Okay, so I do know if I go back into the attack zone, you'll trigger attack, and then all of a sudden he knows how to do things again. So when does he actually lose me? Yeah, because now he seems fine. Oh wait, like what is happening? You are in the running state, or are you changing states continuously? Warning message. Ah, okay, no, that's the other thing. Yeah, could we be like just jittering between states? Okay, and the floatiness has not been solved yet. So let's go into our animator, I guess, again, and let's put this back up here. Oh no. So I want to see the state changes in here. Ah. Okay, so what's happening with the floatiness? So let's think about this. So he is running towards the player. Then he starts his attack animation. And that lets him continue running. Maybe we need to make a case for when, in fact, when this... Let's see, if... Okay, let's do an else if over here. Else if, and we just basically say, you know, if this is true... Okay, so if that's true, what we want... Okay, so let's see. So the attack animation is playing. We want him to stop, effectively. We don't want him to rotate. And we just want him to stop. So let's just try agent is stopped equals true in this case. So when during the attack animation, we make sure the agent is stopped. I'm sure the agent is stopped. What I don't like about this type of thing is because it's like triggering this literally every single frame, and it's not required. I only need this to happen once, I would say. Yeah, so he overshoots, then he comes back, then he does his dumb thing. Running forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards all the time. And it happens because of the attack animation, right? We effectively want him to stop moving once the attack animation starts. Basically. right? So he can update his moving thing all the time. But as soon as this is true, the moment he starts an attack animation, none of this should happen anymore. So our position shouldn't be updated anymore. It cannot be updated anymore. It cannot be updated anymore, right? You'll have to get in here to update the position. Right, so if I that's actually a good and interesting. Huh. Yeah, so how do we get in here in the first place? Is it somewhere else? Being pushed. Dead. No, it can't be. So how is he? It might just be the forward running thing. So maybe this is enough. Because we set this, we set it to true. Or false. Right over here. And then we can't get back in here to check if this is still the case. Yeah, actually, yeah. We might be doing the wrong thing by only allowing movement calculations when the attack is false. Yeah, we might have to figure something out with that. I might have to change all of this stuff. So let's just do the is stop. So that could at least help us with the nav mesh agent doing its weirdness. Maybe. Hopefully. Okay, so he runs. He sees I'm in range. Okay, he came a little bit too close. Okay, if I move. How's this a 5-second cooldown? Can somebody explain that to me? Okay, so that trips him up completely. So if I move out of range, don't know exactly how I trigger this. But he should be able to reacquire me at any time. Unless he can't. Let's just see how the code works. Okay, so we're not being pushed, that's fine. We are not playing the attack animation, so this becomes true. And we are not currently running. Okay, but if we are in the running state, sometimes we don't acquire our target. Okay, so maybe we do. So we have this one. Okay, so we check for that one first, and then we can basically do another else if. But this time we check, you know, are we actually in the running state? And if we are in the running state, for some reason, and this should be false, right? So I'm not a great fan of doing these things continuously, but I mean, it works. Because technically we set this somewhere, but somehow when we are in the running state and we set this to false and we have a destination again, somehow we can stay in the running state, but not get our destination updated. I guess that's possible. Wait, do you need to update your destination continuously, maybe? Is that a thing? Is that how these work? Let's actually go look in the enemy, the simple melee enemy, right? The little lizard movement. So if you're not dead, you're not being pushed. Oh, we do actually set the position every single frame. The destination. Interesting. Okay, so you do need to set this every frame. Otherwise they get stuck. You set the position to where you were. He goes there. He never updated. He doesn't realize you moved. Interesting. Okay, so I think with that, this guy should be unbreakable. Right, and I still need to go fix the flippin' the timer for his attacks, because I feel like he's attacking me way too often. Yeah, okay, so he throws a bomb there, throws a bomb again. He went in too close. A little bit too close. Okay, so he can find me pretty much every time now. Okay, I might want to make him rotate a bit slower, potentially. And attack slower. Why is he attacking like a flippin' machine gun over here? This is terrible. Okay, my guy, what is your current... Oh, maybe I actually... You know what? I could have been setting it in here, so it doesn't even matter that I changed it in code. Because it's... let's just check. Health, push timer, angular speed. Maybe this is the one I need to make like 360 instead. Okay, stopping distance. Okay, wait, no. Go away. Attack. Oh yeah, look at this. Okay, so 5. Let's try this again. Yeah, completely forgot that I did that. When I copied the code, I made it in editable in the inspector. So let's just see if he's a little bit less. So he throws. That immediately breaks him, eh? Yeah, so the it seems like had enough. Okay, so changing that timing really messed with his movement again. So this should be the only script that allows him to move ever. Hey, Proper Duck Games. That's such a cool name. Thanks for the raid. Proper Duck. Yes, like it. Why didn't I think of a cool name like that? I'm making a game about birds. Or trying to make a game about birds. I'm trying to make a bird game, but the frogs are a disaster. I just cannot get them to not be this dumb. So it doesn't make any sense that they will continue moving backwards. Or does it? Am I just stupid right now? So this is how they move backwards, right? Well, how are their positions continuously updating? So, okay, so the state... I guess that's possible. Well, as soon as... It's only when the distance is less than 10. So when it's greater than 10, they should stop. So what if we made this... Wait. So stop moving backwards when you're like 9 distance away. And that's at 10 now. So now there's a little bit of a gap in between there. This might be the problem. If I'm honest. Gavrion. Yes, did I say that correctly? Please tell me I said that correctly. You said perfect for some reason. Gavrion? Close enough. Gaverion. Good enough. Okay. Let's see if it's just something stupid like that. It would be Gav Air Ian. Gav Air. No. Hey, Cowboy Bob. I'm good, thanks, and you? I'm good. But I'm struggling. Gavarian. Gavarian. Nah. Okay, let's see. He throws his bomb. He runs a bit closer. He runs way too close. Get off me. Why? Why does he do that? Why do you just keep running? Okay, it might be this little code that I added here. Basically saying that if you are in the running state, just go ahead and keep running, right? Might have been my bad there. Okay. Yeah, so he goes into the running state and then he just goes, he doesn't do this because he never exits the running state. So we set it. How does that make any sense? Let's take all of this stuff out. Agent stopping distance. Yeah, so what I'm trying to do, and failing miserably, is I'm trying to have the stopping distance all done in code. Right? I did it for the boss enemy and it worked, but I can't for the life of me understand why I can't get it to work for the frog. I even copied chunks of the code from the boss that I made into the dumb frog, and it still doesn't want to do it. Okay, but I did add a few things that I didn't have for the crocodile. That might be the problem. So let's just see. Okay, so he realizes he's too close. So he comes forward, he throws me with the bomb. He's like, well, I'm too close. He goes back. So the code works sort of, right? But he gets into this pendulum state. I'm obviously doing something dumb, and I can't tell you what it is. Is that bad? What are you referring to? You mean using stopping distance instead of doing it in code, maybe? I don't know. So there's a couple of things it needs to do. So, okay. So obviously the player can be too far away. Okay, that's fine. Then I want to run towards the player. Okay, that's what I do here, technically. So I calculate the distance to the player. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Are we far away? Yes. Okay, start running. Okay, cool. Or we could be too close. If we are too close to the player, I want him to move away, right? Because this is a ranged enemy. He kind of needs to juke you a little bit. And this was actually working great before I made a bunch of changes today. Because at some point they get stuck previously, but they worked, 90% of the time, and now I changed it, and now they work 10% of the time. Okay, but anyway, so when he's too close, they want to go away. Okay, then when they're somewhere in the middle there, I just want to set them to idle, right? They shouldn't try and move away or towards or anything like that. They just should idle. Okay, so this is just setting the states. And then next, I actually check, okay, which states were actually set here. And if it was the running state, and we're not currently playing our attack animation, then we can move. Right, and here I have the stopping distance in here. So when we get to greater than 10, no, wait. If the distance to play is greater than 10, then we set false, so we can still move, right? And we set the destination of the player. Else, if the distance is... I wonder if I just did something like here, agent dot velocity equals 0. We just hard stop him. So we're basically saying that, okay, cool, you are in the running animation. You were in the running animation, that's fine. So if we get here, if we are 10 away, so we start running when we're at 12, we stop when we're at 10, then we stop and we set velocity. Maybe this is the floaty thing is happening. It's something like a stopping or an acceleration problem, maybe, so that he kind of overshoots. So let's try this. If we stop the agent but also set the velocity to 0 immediately, let's see what that does, right? Okay, but then the other possibility is that we were actually too close to the player and the guy wants to go away. So we set the state to walking backwards, and while we are in the walking backwards state and we are not too close to, and we're not playing our attacking animation, the agent will be stopped, right? And it'll move away through a normal just transform dot position at some half of the normal agent speed. And then we can also, maybe we do this as well. Just set the velocity to 0. Let's see if he stops doing his pendulum thing if I just set it to 0. Instead of letting him, because what I think is happening is like he starts running and he has like momentum, so he doesn't quite stop fast enough, and then he enters into the next like range or something, and then he kind of drifts forward into that area, and then it breaks. Let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. And if this works, we can bring all the frogs to the party. Okay, so let's see. He runs toward me. He's like, oh, I need to attack you. Wow, that did absolutely nothing. And now this is broken again. Wow, look how broken this is. This is amazing. It's actually kind of insane how broken this is now. Oh my word. Okay, just die. It's fine. So I don't know if this is the problem. I kind of like this behavior, so it stops. I don't know if this velocity thing is the good idea. Yes, I'm using the nav mesh for navigation. There might also just be a way of making them navigate backwards. Now that I think about it, that's probably a good idea. It might not even be that difficult to do. Ah, geez, it might actually not be that difficult to do at all. And then I could just use the nav mesh agent all the time and not having... Ah, jeez. Are you going to make me rewrite all my code now? I mean, if it's a better way of doing it, it might be worth it, right? And it is worth it if it's better. It's not just a might. Definitely is. I had this working, but the code was quite spaghetti, so... Okay, so he throws his bomb, he runs towards me. So he throws the bomb. When he throws the bomb, he stops. That's okay. A-star pathfinding? You're asking a complete noob over here. Maybe it works. I don't know. I don't even know how that works. I'm not even entirely sure what that is. But I've heard about it somewhere, but I can't really attest to any functionality it may or may not have. I just don't know. Yeah, I'll look into it maybe a bit later today. Go do my research. Yeah, I try not to just sit here and watch YouTube videos while I'm streaming. You know, researching new pathfinding methods and stuff like that. But I might just go and have a look a little bit later today if I can find nice explanation tutorial type video. See if it makes sense. Maybe it does make sense and I change everything. But this worked, man. I don't understand. I do not understand. This works pretty well for the boss. Like, let me show you the boss behavior, right? And then you can tell me if this doesn't feel like it's working. So I did the same type of thing for the boss. Wow, why is it loading so much right now? Okay, so we can keep the frog there. Let's just enable the boss. He's probably way too strong right now. Okay, Mr. Boss, I'm just going to nerf you quickly, because you'll just destroy me. The reason I need to nerf him is because he has different phases. So he goes into his range phase where he does all the backward movement thing. Only when he gets to half HP. And currently I won't be able to get him to half HP. Start health. Let's just give him like 300 health. Okay, and let's take the... I'll take the ranger for a spin for a change. So, let me show you this. So, you get the ranger out. Okay, I'm just going to switch off the gizmos. He takes out his hammer. And let's just get rid of the frog. The frog's already broken. Just die. Okay, so here comes a crocodile. Okay, so we need to get him to... Okay, maybe this was a bad idea. 300 health is too much. Oh, jeez, he's killing me way too quickly. Okay. I might not be able to demo this. Oh, shit. Okay. This might really be a bad idea. But anyway, let's take the wizard's too slow. Okay, well you have some HP left, so just tank it. It's fine. Okay, let's take the chicken out. So now he takes out his crossbow, right? And you can see he follows me. No problem. He shoots. He stands still when he's in range, like he doesn't need to follow. Okay, then he follows when I move out of range. If I move too close, he goes backwards. Right, and I never break this. Like, he never bugs out like the frog. Yeah, these small lizards kind of bug out still. Oh, look at these frogs! I forgot he spawns in frogs when he loses damage, health. What are you guys up to? Huh. This doesn't seem right. Oh, jeez. Oh, that's funny. They just completely out of their mind. They don't know what's happening. But, okay, the point is, the crocodile is completely sane. He knows exactly where I'm at. He knows how to come find me, and he shoots me with his crossbow. If I run towards him, he'll kite me. No problem. Maybe I just delete that piece of script for the frog, and I copy the crocodile stuff. Ah, jeez. Oh, I actually gained some levels. Okay, let's level up the knight, and let's finish off this this crocodile. Come on, come on, come on. Let me kill you. There we go. We killed him. We've done the thing. And I gained like 20 levels doing that, because I killed him on level 2. So what I'm thinking, what might be this... Oh, wait, what did I just do? So if you look at the crocodile movement, welcome back, New Zealand guy, or this guy, New Zealand. No, I somehow made it worse. Hey, thanks for the follow. Wait. Let me scroll back up. How do I say this again? Gavarian. Okay. So this is what the crocodile does, right? So his hammer phase is not too interesting. But then when he goes into the crossbow phase, I do the distance calculations, I do the stopping and the turning, I do all these checks. Same thing, and then around 15, I do all the other nonsense, and it just works for some reason. Now what I'm thinking is, I just might have figured it out. Gavarian, I said it right. Fantastic. So what I'm thinking is, maybe it's the way the attacks are triggered that's breaking all of this. Because I don't think the crocodile... Actually, yeah, let's go check this quickly. Oh, jeez, where am I even? Because I don't think the crocodile attacks are triggered the same way. Okay, crocodile, can I give you like less health, maybe? Like 100? I think the crocodile attacks are not triggered with states. It might just be a trigger. So when he goes into crossbow mode, he only gets a trigger that plays the animation for attacks. But he doesn't go into a full-on attacking state. And maybe that's the way the ranged enemies work best. Yeah, because if you look at the crocodile nav mesh agent, you know, he's got his speed and stuff. His stopping distance is also 0. You know, he doesn't really care. Because I manage it in code. But apparently I'm bad at copying code, it seems like. Because I did that. I'm sure I did that. Oh, jeez. Okay, I don't look at him when he spawns, right? Just look away. You think you think you're strong, eh? Not today. I think he needs to be below 50% before he triggers his thing. Okay. So here comes a bunch of broken frogs. Hey, that one attacked. What? Oh no, he unleashed the horde. Okay, so all I want to see actually is just if we look at the crocodile and we go to his state machine, which all the scripts much better for the crocodile, by the way. I wasn't being dumb. Well, I had more experience, so when I coded him from scratch, I just did it better. Okay, so he's in the idle state. Now let's see, while we run away, or run around, if he actually ever goes into an attacking state. No, he just goes from idle to running, and I think he goes to walking backwards. And he attacks, right? So, let me mow this mob down. Die, mob. Yes, like it. These frogs are super broken. This is amazing. Yeah, so if we also click on the crocodile and go to the animator, let's see what that tells us. So he's probably in his crossbow state. Yeah, so this thing is triggered by... Well, it's a trigger, right? These are all triggers. Oh, geez, I can't even tell what this is now, because it's in debug. Yeah, it's a range attack trigger. It's not state changing. This might be the solution. Yeah, he runs, he triggers the attack. Yeah, he does all the correct things. The frogs are high. They're on a different planet entirely. Yeah, okay, so I like the crocodiles. He works. And let's go click on one of these super crazy frogs right now. And look at their state machines, right? Oops. Okay, so I think they're just stuck in the run. And to go to range attack, they need to be in the attack state. Okay, I won't be able to check this because I don't know which frog it is. So they kind of come alive again when you go into range, but they immediately then don't know what's going on again. Okay, let's stop there. So maybe I should change the behavior for the attack to be a trigger instead of a full-on state change. Okay, I'll try that in a minute. But before I do, I just have to go to the restroom real quick, so I'll be right back. Let me put this thing up here so you have something to look at. Okay, 2 minutes. But, okay, I've returned. Let's see what wonderful advice I'm receiving in chat. Does attack state always transition to idle state? Maybe. Yeah. So maybe, you know what? I had the piece of code like that, actually, now that I think about it, and I took it out. So maybe I broke it. Also, I've changed so many things now that I don't know if changing that back will actually make a difference. But yeah, right here, when the throw bomb animation ends, I used to have a state machine to change the state. Yeah. So it is state machine. So what I used to do is this dot set state, and I set the state to dot idle. So I used to have this, and then I removed it for some reason. That might have been my bad. Hey, good evening, Mr. Human. Limits from YouTube. Okay. Let's see. Okay, well, then technically this should work, right? So we can always go to the idle state from attack state, and then from there figure out what we need to do. So we force him into idle state, so he doesn't stick around in the attack state. And then during movement, I don't even know if he really sticks around in the attack state, to be honest, but let's see. Let's see what that changed first before we... Okay, I think the crocodile, he made his point. Let's get rid of him. And let's see what this ranged bomber enemy is doing now. Mr. Frog. Okay, Mr. Frog. Okay, he attacks. I mean... Yo! This is so painful. Okay. Okay, so it seems like that didn't do anything. So whatever that did, it doesn't break or fix the problem. Or it doesn't break it more, it doesn't fix the problem either. Okay, maybe we should just sit here and reason about this code. Using a state machine rather than enums? I thought I was using a state machine. What do you mean a state machine? Because to me a state machine is something you build in code that uses enums to, you know, store the different states like this, right? So I have states, and it's called state, right? So it's a state machine. So I store the states there, and then obviously in the animator also has its state. That's also a state machine, most technically. The animator itself is a state machine. Okay. I thought that's what I was doing. No. Okay, so basically so you'd create different classes instead of enums, and then each of those classes would have functionality associated with it. You know, that might be the correct way of doing it. So then each state decides how it can and cannot switch between states as well. Something like that. Instead of some arbitrary thing deciding, hey, we're in idle state now. And then, yeah, you know, that's probably better. functionally it will work a lot like this. Actually, could you, because I've seen this before, right? If you click on one of these states, so this is technically a state. It has an animation associated with it. But you can also create state machines like this. And then you can add behavior, which is basically just adding scripts. Could you just do all of this inside of the animator? And just add your scripts here. Your separate classes, basically, for each of the states. Huh. That's kind of cool, actually. And then your transitions between states, that's actually pretty cool if you think about it. Then your transitions are all visual, so you can see the transitions here. And when it transitions into this animation, it also runs the script associated with this animation. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, so I'm not at all a seasoned software engineer or programmer at all. So I only know if statements. And if statements is all you know, okay, I know about loops as well. Then you kind of try and just do everything with them. Because I haven't really been exposed to like proper game architecture or, setting up these fancy state machines and stuff like that the correct way. And who knows, this might be the correct way. I don't know. Who am I to say what's correct and what's not? I think if the game works and it's fun, then people will play it and enjoy it, and it's correct. It should work at least. If it works, then it's correct. That's at least how I think about it right now. Okay, so what about we just copy all this code again into our bomber, and I don't understand it. This should just work. It's the same flipping code. Except for the transition thing. Okay, so let's try that. That's a quick change. So let's see. So when the attack trigger happens, right? I'm setting the state. Right here. So what if, instead of that, and this is horrible. I hate the way I've done I hate this so much. So for some reason, my state machine became my manager that just does everything now. Okay, I'm going to try something. So let's go into let's go in here. Let's add a parameter and let's call it a trigger. Attack trigger. Right, so now there's a trigger in here in our animator for the frog. Okay. Then what we do is in our animator, where is that? There we go. So first I want to do this because I don't like strings. Can't spell. You see why I don't like strings, eh? Attack underscore trigger equals attack trigger. Right, so we do something like that. And basically the attack state doesn't actually do anything. It just triggers this. That's amazing. Okay, so we make something like this, and we do a public void trigger attack animation, and this thing does RBE animator.set trigger, and the trigger it sets is the attack trigger. Right. We're getting somewhere. So this can still happen. I don't care about that. For now. Okay, then what we do... Hey, what are you guys saying? How do I lose track of the chat this badly? If it works and it doesn't make you miserable coding it. Yeah, that's true. You find something annoying, you go look up if there's a better way of doing this stuff. Yeah. And this might be one of those situations. Hey, Kurama. How are you doing? So hopefully... Okay. Let's see if this goes somewhere. Okay, so we do this. Now what we also should do is a range attack should now work with a trigger and not a... So we do attack trigger here. And we do attack trigger here. And we do attack trigger here. Right, and then it'll exit, to whichever state it wants to exit to, depending on what has been set, right? Okay, cool. So we do attack trigger. Okay, I might be getting somewhere. So this should work, sort of. Now we just need to make the attack trigger happen. So, okay, so we need to get this function from somewhere. Let's see. So in our state machine, unfortunately, yeah, this is where the attack trigger comes through, and then normally it's set the state. But now I don't want to set the state necessarily, so let's get rid of that. And let's do a... wait, I don't have a reference to my animator, do I? Well, let's just put it in there. I need to come and refactor all of this code. None of this should be in my state machine. What kind of state machine has literally everything the character does? And it literally is keeping track of the health, which is I don't know, that doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, so what I want here is a RBE animator, and let's just call this the animator. Right, and what we do here now is we do animator dot trigger attack animation. Righto. I think this will work somehow. So let's see. We just need to go drag that into the inspector. So let's just do this to the actual prefab. Okay, so let's see. So my manager. You want to see my manager script? No, you can't. It's completely empty. Okay, so my state machine should now want the animator. And the animator, I think it gets it from here. Yeah. There we go. Now we have an attack. I also have this attack trigger. I don't know what that one does. And I have is attack play. Who knows? Okay, so I changed a lot of stuff right now. This whole frog should be working differently. The whole frog should be working differently. But I should definitely just change this whole... While he attacked. Okay, he still does that thing. This guy. So he is still attacking, so, you know, it's not like we need the attack state. Yeah, his movement is just still weird. Okay, so let's see. what's happening here. Let's go look at the crocodile again. So I have this doing action boolean that we check, and basically, you know, while he's swinging a weapon or whatever, it's considered doing an action, right? So while he's doing an action, you can't change, you can't move, right? So that's why all of this is set to, you know, off. I just don't understand entirely why. Okay, so he has phases and states, which is its own thing, but anyway. So in the first phase, we don't really care about that. In the second phase, he calculates the distance to the player. If he's not currently running, and he's not doing an action, we stop. That seems fine, right? That makes sense. Okay. Then we look towards the player. That's what all this does. And then we decide whether or not we should go into running, walking, or we can just stick around. Look, that seems so basic, right? That's not so complicated. So let's see if this guy does the same thing. So, actually, am I doing this? Yeah, I am doing it. Okay. Proper Duck Games, thanks for the follow. Best name. I'm gonna call myself Proper Chicken. Improper Chicken. Unproper Chicken. Okay. So this is effectively the doing action variable. That's fine. And this is the running, right? So those two are the same. And if we are not running, we should stop, right? That makes sense. To me, at least. So is stop should be true. Fantastic. Then we decide, okay, if we are greater than 12 away from the player, run towards the player. If we are less than 8, and we're not already walking backwards, then we can walk backwards. If we are somewhere in the middle, and we're not already idle, we should idle. That makes complete sense, right? Actually, let's take this out as well, because the crocodile doesn't have that. So far, there's nothing weird happening here. Then we go, and we now get our state. So we set one of the states, and now we check. Okay, did we actually send it to the running state? Yes, we did. This is still false, which... Is there a world in which this ran, so we checked that it's false here, and then we set the state, and then somehow it became true? There is a world like that. There absolutely is a world like that. Is there a world like that? Wait a minute. How is this happening for the crocodile? So this is an update. Could it? No. So during one update cycle, all of this code runs. No. There's not a world like that. So there's no way that during running this code, this could have been changed, unless it's changed inside here somewhere. So this should still be false. So technically I could remove this, right? Because the only way I'm running this code in the first place is because we are not doing anything. So this is superfluous. Let's take that out. So we set the state to running. That means we can run. Okay. And since we can run, we run until we get to 10. Once we are at 10, we stop. Okay, so if we're not, yeah, okay, so we keep on running, and then once we're not at 10, we stop and we go to idle. And then walking backwards, same thing, just the opposite. And like these two can just be the same thing. Let's call this less than equal to 10. So there's no funny area where they can be in. Okay, so then we walk backwards, exactly like a crocodile. And then we say, okay, if we're not, so if we are in walking, but we turns out we're close enough already, and we're not already in idle, which doesn't make any sense, right? This shouldn't, we shouldn't have to do this check. We can just set it to idle, it's fine. Same here, I guess, right? Why would we be in idle? We just checked and we verified we're in running. So is there a possibility that we are being pushed? Because that's the only thing that's additional here. So it could be that we are being pushed somehow. I don't think so. And that only happens when we die. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, logically, this makes sense. I don't understand how this is breaking. Okay, now Isoma just created a problem here. So now that really looks exactly like the crocodile, and even the attack is triggered instead of changing. Yes, I'm directly modifying the position when I am not using the nav mesh agent. Yeah, so that would be over here when walking backwards. Yeah, so I think it was about 20 minutes ago when I had the realization that I could do this using NavMesh agent. And so the only problem with the NavMesh agent and doing that, and why I didn't do that, is when you set a destination, he wants to look at that destination. So it turns your frog around and he walks towards that destination. And it seemed like it would be difficult to make the frog look in the right direction while running away or whatever. So you want him to look at the character and move backwards. So you need to set a destination, then maybe rotate the, not the frog, just the visual of the frog, maybe. Something like that. What are we saying here? Try and add returns after you change state. Where do you mean that? This could probably all be else ifs, right? Maybe that also helps. So we don't do this one and this one, potentially somehow. Yeah, because these are all exclusive, so maybe that's already maybe better. Right, something like this instead. Else if. No, I'm not quite sure what you mean with the returns. Like, you mean like this? after setting it to idle. Perhaps. Not here, I suppose. Not. I don't think you mean here, because I still want this code to run after setting the state there. And if the state's set there and I make it return, it'll just forget about this. If this is happening, it can forget about that. That's fine. I'm just let me not change too many things at a time. Okay. I mean, this works for the flipping crocodile somehow. I don't understand it, but it works for the crocodile. Well, I think I understand it at least. Apparently I don't. Okay, let's see. Okay, Chicken Knight, you are the guy for the job. You're my bug tester. Let's see. Okay, so he comes at me. He throws. He doesn't stop at all. He just continues running, and then he forgets entirely what he's supposed to be doing right now. Okay, let's click on the frog, and let's monitor some of his states and stuff. Okay, so let's just go into debug mode here. Okay, so he's in the running state. Okay, he's in running state. Now he's in idle. Then he's in running. What's really weird to me is... Oh. Does he have momentum? Is it... Wait a minute. Does he have momentum? I didn't consider this. The crocodile... Wait, let's just go into normal mode because I don't understand what I'm looking at. We freeze the position and stuff for the crocodile. He's not kinematic, but let's just look at this guy. We don't freeze position. Is the rigid body fighting my script? It may very well be. It has momentum. It slides. Let's see. I think this might be the problem. So that's why it overshoots. I think. Is there a reason it needs a rigid body? I don't think so. Okay, so now he stopped better, right? When he was... So... Okay, so this is... Okay, so what I'm seeing now is when you do this, I can't push him around. Wait, I can't push him around anyway? Wait, what am I doing? I'm changing the wrong thing. Whoopsie. Okay, so we go to this frog. Let's just switch this off. I actually don't remember why I added a rigid body to it in the first place. I think it was for this type of behavior where I push them around. So I can push them out of the way. Might be that. Like, why is this happening, right? So he clearly has a destination set. He knows to go there. He's playing the running animation, so he's trying his best. Is it the... It is this. The rigid body is messing with it. Can I just switch that off? I'm sure I can't. Right? The cursor effect. This is rays. So I'm drawing the raycast from the camera, so that I can calculate the world position in which the cursor is in, effectively. Because obviously the mouse moves in your screen space, so then you cast the ray from the camera to a point in the world so that you can actually control your character correctly. You don't think it's the rigid body? Well, the rigid body definitely has an effect, I know, for changing the position like this. I know that messes with the rigid body. If it's... yeah, it does look like he gets his destination set and he never realizes that, oh wait, I should actually stop now. So... okay. Crocodile doesn't have a way of doing that here. Let's see. How's a crocodile stopping? I guess... his stop must be true. There's something else happening with the crocodile, I think, when he triggers his attack. So let's actually go to the crocodile. Oh, geez. I also... seems like I didn't... look away from my file structure. Nobody's allowed to look at this. Okay. Okay, so we trigger the attack. That's good. I think that goes to the manager. Okay, so the crocodile manager is probably doing something clever. So let's go look at the crocodile manager, which the frog doesn't have. So let's see. Mr. Human Limits. Ah, you've been recreating pixel art for fun. That sounds like not fun, to be honest. It sounds like a lot of work. Okay, so we have this is doing action thing going on here. Where do we listen to our attack trigger? So we have attack 1, 2, 3. That's for the hammer. Wait. Where do we do the range attack trigger? What? How's any of this working? Oh, okay. I connected when I switched to the crossbow. Okay, so we set the state to attack. Ah, we still set the state to attack, apparently. And we trigger the attack. Interesting. So I'm only triggering the attack, I think, right? Yeah, I'm not setting the state. Technically, if I set the state... this might be it. This might be it. Why? Because if I set the state to attack, then immediately this becomes true. Right? Because we're not in the running state anymore. So it can run this, which means it runs all this code, updating. It's, stopping... Oh. Okay, look at this. Are you guys ready? Are you ready for the most triumphant moment in game design? Or game dev? Of my whole career. My month-long career. Or how long ever my career is. So he runs towards me. He hits me. Oh my word. Nothing changed. Absolutely nothing changed. Yeah, he still totally tries to go to that point. Did I not save my script? Okay, so let's see. It might be getting overwritten immediately also. Oh, I might just be dumb. You know why? Because for the crocodile... Okay, I trigger the attack. That's fine. But for the range bomber enemy, what I do in addition to that is I set the attack playing animation to true. Now what that does is it also doesn't allow me to run that piece of code right there. Yes. Okay, and in the crocodile, what I think I did with the... Yeah. It's all coming back to me now. So for the crocodile, what I did for the animation thing, where the animations happen too late. So this shoot. You know what I did? I know exactly what I did. Can we look at the crocodile? Can we go to the layer for crossbow? So I changed all these transitions to be immediate, which meant there's no chance of missing this little event right here when he shoots. Problem flippin' solved. This is exactly what I need to do. I shouldn't do that. I should just do that. Shouldn't need to be a nice transition. When you attack, you just flip and attack. Don't faff about. Oopsie. That's not what I wanted to do. So now that happens, which means the range attack itself can trigger this event. So let's see. Wait, how do I go there? The range attack itself, the animation playing, which happens a frame later, can set the animation playing to true, which means I don't do it in the state machine, because that's bad. Now I still have at least a frame to run the movement script. And stop moving. Okay, let's watch this fail spectacularly again. I wanted to do so many other things today. Okay, he throws and he keeps on running. Why are you like this? Okay, let's click on the frog and look at its nav mesh agent. Okay, so it sets its destination. Oh wait, no, that worked out. Wait. Okay, that's not being set continuously though. Yeah, okay, so something else is wrong there, because when I'm in his range, he sets it exactly once. So he calls this piece of code exactly once. So he goes through here. He's like, oh yeah, I'm not playing this. I'm also not running at the moment. And he goes through here. He sees that I'm far away, so he sets it to running. That means when we come down here, we set our destination exactly one time, and then that's what I did here as well. So how does the crocodile get back to the running state ever? So the crocodile might be triggering. You see, I made the crocodile way better than I made this guy, and I forgot what I did for most of these. Okay, so we set the state to attack when this is triggered. What happens? Okay, so let's go to the range attack trigger, maybe. And let's just see when this thing triggers. So it triggers every time if we are in the zone and we are on cooldown, it triggers. It triggers and it sends this with it. But that's just for... Yeah, why do I actually send that with it? If... Oh, jeez. So we check if it's true, then we... I don't understand. Well, let's just duplicate that, I guess, for a start. So we check if... So it sends this, and we check if it's actually true. If it's true, then that's fine. But shouldn't it always be true? Yeah, because it's and. So if this and that... So this must be true. So this will only trigger when it's true. So that doesn't really make sense that I would check that it's true over here. Right? Because the only way this is triggered is because it's true. Right? So let's see what happens in the state machine. Maybe the state machine has a clue. So in the state machine... State machine doesn't have a clue. The state machine does almost nothing. So maybe it's in the animator. Okay, so in the animator, we changed our state. To attacking. And that just does the basic things for the animations. And then we just have trigger range attack. How is the crocodile updating? Its movement. Because it'll have the same problem because it'll be running after me. So if we set it to running, okay, wait, let's go play again. That doesn't make sense. I don't understand this. And I almost need to go to work. Three hours of fiddling with this frog. It's gonna bug me so much later today. I can already tell. Yeah, what's up, Frog? Why are you doing that? So if I just stand inside his... No. As soon as I trigger a run... Yeah, so it's definitely something with a nav mesh agent. So if I go closer, he's like, he'll walk backwards to a point and then stop, right? So his behavior is perfect when I go towards him. So he'll continuously look at me and he'll try to keep the distance. The problem is as soon as I go out of his range, maybe not out of his range, but out of his chase distance. Oh, that worked. But I guess it's because I was still inside of his attack sphere. The problem is if I move out, then he doesn't know what's happening. As long as I stay within the zone, I think he'll chase me pretty much no problem. No, he doesn't. He waits for the attack update, the attack trigger before he updates anything. That's very interesting. Let's look at the frog. There is attack animation playing variable. Let's just see what that does. Okay, so it goes on and off the way it should. Yeah, so the last position he had set was over there. And there you got a new one. He didn't know to stop. Because he doesn't check. This is only happening when he goes into running. Yeah, he knows exactly what to do while I'm getting too close to him. Why, Froggy? Oh, now he didn't know actually what to do. Oh, he was stuck in the running animation. Oh, that makes sense. Could it be the range? Maybe that's it. Actually, now that I think about it, that could make sense. So what I think I'm doing for the crocodile is I'm looking at this range and I'm only triggering running when he's outside the range. And I don't think I do that for the... I try to make him run while he's inside of the range and it kind of breaks it because he gets the attack triggers all the time. So if he can still attack trigger, he shouldn't be running after you. This might be the problem. So let's see, this attack trigger zone, it's 10 away. It's got a radius, I think, of 8 currently. Or something like that. Sphere size of 8. This is... What is this? Is this a radius? If I make this 10, yeah, that is a radius. So 8. So that would mean that 10 plus 8. So 18. So let's see if we trigger the running at 18 instead. Oh, there's my alarm telling me that I need to go to work. Okay, but before we do that, let's trigger everything at 18 instead. Which is what I did for the crocodile, I think. So, okay. So if the distance is greater than 18... we can try and run. Okay, and let's say we stop running. When we're like 15 away or 10. Now let's make like 15. And we can make that 10. I guess that's fine. So 18, and then we trigger the walking backwards maybe at 10. And let's make this 10 and 18. Could that be the problem? It might really be the problem. It's still not perfect, right? I don't think this is the best way of doing this. You guys have given me some good suggestions that I might have to go and implement. But if this works, at least for now, I'll be happy. I'll be very happy. Okay, so he runs towards me. Now he doesn't get an updated... Okay, there he did. Wait, is there a setting maybe in the flippin' NavMesh agent that I messed up? Might be. There are many settings. Let's just go to normal. Auto braking. Is it the quality? Nah, I don't think it's the quality. Height, stopping distance, humanoid. Auto repath, so that's good. But he doesn't set his destination nearly enough. He sets it. But how does the crocodile then work? That doesn't make any sense. So it makes sense to me that he's not setting his destination enough. It doesn't make sense that the crocodile can set his destination. Okay, let's switch on the crocodile. Maybe the crocodile's just so fast that I can't evade him. Okay, so let's take the crocodile for a spin and let's see if I can break the crocodile in the same way. Because maybe this is a bug for all of my characters. I just haven't realized. Okay, so let's select the Robin because she's nice and fast. And let's look at the crocodile. Okay, wait, we need to get the crocodile in the other state because that's the state in which he starts to break. Okay, we keep the ranger. Yeah, no, he's continuously following me, right? He's getting these updates all the time. The frogs are completely drunk. Yeah, no, but he's keeping his eyes locked on me. Okay, so it's not a common bug for the other enemies. So that must mean he's setting his destination continuously, right? And if you look at the movement of the crocodile, like my script for the crocodile doesn't make sense. Why does this work? Why do you work? This shouldn't work. Because we only calculate the destination. We set the destination here. Or do we set it somewhere else? The only other place we do is here. But this phase is no longer used, so... Oh, I'm so dumb. Holy moly. Guys, I hope there's somebody still here to see this. I put everything into the same if statement for the damn frog. These are not the same if statements. I put these two for the frog inside of here. Oh my word. That's why it doesn't work. That's why it's not working. Why didn't you guys tell me? I'm blaming you. This is not, these update functions should be outside of this stupid if statement. Yeah, I put it inside like a complete idiot. Get out of there. You need to be there. Yes, like it. For crying out loud. That was like a solid hour and a half. I couldn't understand why it worked so well with the crocodile. And it's because the code just was correct. Because this makes more sense now. So now we'll do this. We'll set the state and then we check, okay, what state was set. Previously, I was like, yeah, okay, if you're in the running state, we can't do this, which means we can't update the destination. Oh my greatness. Okay, you guys ready to see the frogs just work? Oh my freaking greatness. It's fine. Okay, I'm gonna... Let's... Okay, wait, the boss is still here. Okay, but that's fine. Look at this guy. He's chasing after me. He stops when I'm too close. He waits for his cooldown. He throws a bomb. Okay, Mr. Crocodile, I'm just gonna need you to not. Please, just... Go ahead. If I damage you, you'll spawn some more frogs. Let's see what they do. He's chasing after me, and he's throwing me, and he stops. And if I get too close, I think they evade. They evade like champs. And okay, they just threw the bombs into themselves. What happened there? Okay, let's switch off the gizmos because that's terrible. What are they throwing it into? Oh, they're throwing it into the hammer of the crocodile. I didn't even know they could do that. I guess it still has a collider. Alright, this guy's angry. Let's go chase them. Let's see. If I come close. Look at them. They are... It's been a rough ride. But everything's working. We can get back to frog slaying. Lizard slaying. Crocodile slaying. Oh, guys. I cannot believe I did that. I literally just copied code into the wrong place, and it cost me an hour and a half or maybe even more. Wow. 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 It just works. It just works. You take it out of the flippin' wrong place and it just works. You guys want to see something cool-ish? I don't know how many of you were here when I did this morning. Just want to hide this thing real quick. So we made a cool-ish... I actually made a build of the game, but it was a build with bugs, so, you know. Look at this. What do I want to do? Okay, I want to stop the music quickly. I want to enable the music. So imagine this. Imagine this. Look at this. I have... Let's play. And I want to show you my main menu. I made this yesterday, and I showed it off at the beginning of the stream, but I think maybe there weren't so many of you. So if you go to main menu, I'm quite proud of this. Oh no! Where's the... Oh, jeez. I disabled the, the menu. How cool is the main menu look? I like this. Even got a nice track playing. Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. So, and you can play a new game. So you can go from here. Play a new game. It works. And you can restart. It restarts. You can go main menu. And it goes main menu. And again, the menu is blocked. I just need to add... I don't know how loud this is. It sounds very loud to me. Is it like blowing your ears out right now? I hope not. Might be a bit loud. Apologies. But let's actually just open the scene the good old-fashioned way. Yeah, I'll save this one. That's fine. Yeah, so if we look at the scene... Okay, let's unhide this. So, obviously, this UI looks terrible, right? Which is... I mean, it's my UI. Fine, okay? We have a name. We are... I think I'm going to reveal it tomorrow. I said I was going to do it today. But I did so much other stuff today. So what I'll do is we'll get the nice font working. And we'll put in the game name over there. But the idea is so we still need some clouds. Maybe put some stuff on this hill. And it looks nice. And then I just need to make the the actual level that you play in look nice as well. Because this is just a scene that I created specifically... Whoa. I just made this scene specifically to have a nice main menu. Right? Did all this just to make it look nice. So we'll make the game level also look a bit better. The T-pose, what do you mean in the T-pose? They're not T-posing. Yeah, they're T-posing right here, right? So if I do this, because it's not playing. As soon as you play, they go into the animated idle pose. Eventually. Apparently it's difficult to play now. Yeah. See, they're in their idle pose. Now what I want to do is I want to actually have them walk across the path into the distance. And the whole game is centered around a magical tower that you're trying to reclaim for the birds, right? So this, you'll notice that none of my birds fly. Okay? And the reason for that is because inside of this magical tower, they keep or had the key to flight. Right? Some magical artifact that allows the chosen race, the bird race, to fly. But they foolishly let the crocodile and his hordes of reptiles take over. So, it's been a couple of 100 years. The birds have gained strength because they kind of got used to not being able to fly anymore. So they now became knights and wizards and all kinds of things. And they think it's time to reclaim the tower and to regain their ability for flight. Right? And this is some crazy magical tower that has whole biomes on every single floor. So it's not going to be like you climbing in a building. It's going to feel like every single floor is a different place in the world instead of because it was like the habitat for the birds, right? All kinds of birds were staying there, whether they were jungle birds or tundra birds or desert birds, any type of bird. They had a place to stay in this majestic tower, but they've been depossessed and chased away by the lizards because they were not prepared. They thought nobody would ever invade their tower, but the lizards did, and the lizards took over. That's also why. So I'm thinking about this, but I'm considering having like magical artifacts and stuff like that in the tower as well. And these artifacts can also buff your characters, but also the lizards are using these artifacts to empower themselves. So for instance, the way the lizards are spawning on the levels, if you think about it, it's like a TARDIS situation.
Yes. Bigger on the inside than on the outside. But it's still going to be a big tower, though. It will be a big tower. But what I was thinking, so with the lizards, they built these totems and things inside of the tower, and they kind of work as magical conduits in some way, and that is allowing them to make infinite replicas of themselves, which is why on every level there are millions, or these massive swarms of lizards that come at you. It's because of the way they are abusing or using the magical properties of the tower for their own benefit. And obviously that's not what it's about, right? It's about flying. But they weren't the chosen race, so they don't get to fly. Maybe even on the top level, right? We put a dragon. And somehow the dragon, dragons can fly, right? And they're lizards. Well, they're reptiles that can fly in some way. So maybe the point is, after hundreds of years of inhabiting this tower, the lizards are starting to develop the ability to fly, and the birds realize this, and before it gets out of hand, they should probably go and fix the situation, because dragons are a menace. They destroy everything, right? Yes, like it. Look at me coming up with a magical story about heroic chickens and things. Okay, guys, I need to go. It's time to get to work for me. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Like it was a bit of a nightmare for me, but at least we fixed it before I had to go to work. Otherwise, it would be a terrible day. Me thinking about how I need to fix this the whole time. Okay, so let me get you guys into the ending screen, and have a good day, have a good evening, depending on where you are. Some of you are 9 hours ahead of me, some of you are 9 hours behind. So it's night everywhere except for where I am. Cheers, guys. And have a good whatever you are gonna have rest of your day.